Wow. Well, we've had an adventurous time on the open mic, and now we are going to proceed into the more etheric realms and hear a beautiful, compassionately passionate voice, a poet that speaks from, to, and through the heart. Part of the write up that I have here is to introduce Kimi to you all. She is a mother, educator, songwriter, and poet. She earned an MFA from Naropa University and has published two books of poetry, the newest of which is While and Wing on Manic Depress. That's still correct, yes? Just want to make sure. She's been published in numerous anthologies and is the Poet Laureate of Alameda, California. As an active board member for literary arts organizations, she curates and hosts readings in Alameda and San Francisco. She believes that creating community through art is a revolutionary act, and to that I pledge my agreement. And we got a couple of thumbs up there, so yes. A wonderful voice, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dan. You're so kind, so flattering. um, yeah. First poem I'm going to read is called Phantom Past. San Francisco Phantom Past. In a Victorian flat with 14-foot ceilings, 3 fireplaces, and a fainting room, we each paid $150 in rent. Mark penciled wall-sized drawings of houses and buildings he rendered, one brick at a time. Al wrangled black and white photos of Jerry's and Johnny's, a 1950s newspaper bar, and long-gone Soma SROs. Michael edited his film over and over and over again. Randall practiced slack rope, double sticks, juggling tricks, unicycled a little dough for apple pie, red beans, and rice and ratatouille. After 3 days and nights of $3 an hour pay, surrogate parenting autistic children, my comrades and I bought Clown Ellie hamburgers, Andre's champagne, and a 2-hour jacuzzi at Grand Central Station. Sidestepping sex workers and Johns, we drank and ranted impossibly tragicomic vignettes into gallows humor and stray small talk. Headed east, Pacific Heights to North Beach, we ate focaccia at an Italian bakery on Grant Street, wandered Coit Tower, studied Diego's murals, the Cameron House in Chinatown, Clifton Chenier and Sam Shepard at the Coffee Gallery. We made Botan rice paper wishes. Snuck into the San Francisco Art Institute film classes, developed photographs and lithographs in the dark room till 4 a.m. Dinner any time at Sam Woe's that might or might not be what you ordered. You specify, I modify. Headed west to Land's End, we balanced on the walls of the Sutro Bath ruins, gazed into the camera obscura, meditated on the convict-constructed thousand-toothpick Ferris wheel, the impassive clunk of the guillotine and ghoulish laughing Sal at Musée Mécanique, gobbled corn dogs and soft ice cream. We walked and talked miles of Frida Kahlo, Robert Frank, Diane Arbus, Michael Anjate, Imogen Cunningham, Janice Marikatani, Zora Neale Hurston. We haunted the seminal and forgotten ghosts of San Francisco. No Ubers, Lyfts, or taxis, just an occasional bus or trolley when the dogs gave out. That goes back into my 20s, early 20s. A griffin is half feline, sometimes lion, and has wings. my griffin selves. I was a groundling thing, padding on velvet noiseless paws, walking around the edges of rooms close to the walls, running and hiding at loud noises, fast movements, or harsh words. And then ever so slowly, painfully as newly budding breast, the tips started pushing like thorns through my shoulder blades, gradually lengthening, widening, spreading. We became dusty and winged, clawed and feathered, until we could both run and fly for fear or joy, the predator and prey in one conundrum. Waking, reeling, gorging on clouds or four-footed prey, we try not to mistake ourselves for a meal or a monster. We are often at odds with ourselves and the world. Thank you. Um, I wrote this in Costa Rica, at a place called Blue Spirit Resort. I cannot exactly recommend it. The monkeys are getting closer. A blackbird flaunts an elegant sheen of blue-green back feathers, casts one brilliant yellow eye my way as if to say, "Don't outstay, you're welcome." A squadron of pelicans show their silvered wings while performing intricate sky dances. The sky hall shimmers with unanswerable questions. Leave your corpse by the wayside and wander inside your life unencumbered. The monkeys are howling in some ritual retelling of their stories, their histories, their love of wandering. Some dream before they sleep, in enlightened journeys beyond the pale shadows of morning and the deep shadows of night. Okay. Um, this is a prose piece I wrote at a writing retreat when there was no poetry teacher, so I had to write prose. Invisible people. Alejandro worked at the airport as a janitor, blue gloved and masked, cleaning toilets and wiping down the sinks, counters, and mopping, pushing giant carts around, collecting garbage summarily relegated to a disposable caste and culture. The young blonde woman waiting for her flight dropped her passport in the toilet stall. Being a responsible employee and mother of a disabled son, Alejandra picked it up. Before she could give it to the proper authorities, the woman returned and asked if the passport had been found. Alejandra promptly handed it to her and might even have expected to be thanked. In response, the woman who had missed her flight railed at Alejandra about not having done her job properly and inconvenienced her air travel for the day. She also reported the purported infraction to airport authorities who rushed to the scene, managers, police, administrators. Ale was crying. I and a handful of passengers sitting across the hall from the scene of the crime watched as the woman berated and blamed Alejandra for her slowness, and in fact appeared to blame her for the last passport, as if it was somehow Ale's fault. When the half dozen or so authorities arrived, I and another witness testified to the harassment the woman had inflicted. As I walked over to the group, Ale said, "You were my son's teacher." I recognized her. Not remembering her son's name as he had only briefly been in my class, I only recalled her calm but tigerly demeanor during individual education planning meetings, how she carefully pointed out the ways that her son's needs were not being addressed properly. Not so surprising, because none of my students' needs were being fully met, but As school districts are wont to do, the plans provide detailed accommodations and supports that don't actually exist. She started to cry again, and rushing to say, rushing to say that she had just received a phone call from her son's teacher who told her that he seemed depressed and maybe starting to self-harm, and how she had been in an accident where she received a brain injury that greatly exacerbated her tendency to anxiety, and that she was now unable to control or calm the panic. The tears, frustrations, and fears poured out in the 3 minutes before my plane started boarding. I hugged her and asked how old her son was now. 14, she said, as I held her hands and suggested she find a quiet place to sit down and breathe. Her son was 14, maybe 8 when I taught him 6 years ago. She had the delicate face and features of an 18-year-old, even now. And that's a true story. Happened in the airport when I was on my way to Hawaii. Okay, let's see. Earthlings. I do not have anything to mark the anniversary of the Nakaba, but I did write this poem called Earthlings that somehow embodies some of my feelings about what's happening in Palestine. They believed they were formidable, invincible, irreproachable. They believed that everything they wanted was justified. They liked to grind bones to season their leeches and arachnids. They liked to swim in sewers filled with their own excrement. We tried to weed them out like crabgrass. We tried fastening explosives to their tails. We weren't interested in dissecting them. We didn't want to eat them. We waited until they were asleep. We sang them lullabies and fed them centipedes. They crouched below the surface of every conversation. They didn't think we were listening when they whispered about annihilating us. They started wars that weren't wars but massacres. They justified our genocide by saying we were terrorists. They substituted their flesh for ours and couldn't call a single one of us by name. So the wind echoes the names of those of us buried under their churches, as the names of those we conquered echo through the great halls of our leaders. Each ghost faces the next in eternal empires of vampires, each soul a scorched shadow on the backs of the ones who came before and come after, as though each were another verse of the same song. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to read you a silly poem. I hope it's not so silly that you don't like it. Last month was Poetry Month, and I happened to notice that it's also was Heartworm Awareness Month. April is Heartworm Awareness Month. The season of pests is now year-round. Shop and protect yourself with topical preventative solutions. It is as easy as guarding your heart with existential profanities. Make it known that you wish to believe in something other than worms and fleas. Send angels and emissaries to root out the egotism in your own melodrama. There are signs to show you the way. They are pentatonic and pneumatic. You can scale them like tsunamis before they break, before they scatter. Aorta, tricuspid valve, inferior vena cava. It's in your best interest to shake and bristle, let the air out and push through perforated myocardium to liberate the worms. And Sky Island. Arranging the furniture can be challenging, where clouds make homes for the winged. Blessed as they are with flight, while we bumble around on 2 feet, or imitate birds with giant flying phalluses. To be in harmony with the owl and the plover, unwound and boundless, pecking and scratching, hunting wood rat or mole crab. To wear the nascent plumage of distilled prayers, soaring and plummeting, nesting and hatching on Sky Island. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to read another very short prose piece. One-legged horse. Also a true story. It was her birthday. In Mendocino, footsteps from the bluffs and rough water, her wife's horse was sick. There was something wrong with 3 of her 4 legs. Apple cottage, rustic, simple, under a sweep of blue and gold light. We bathed in the hot tub and ate the beef stew I brought from home, unpacked and lazed in the garden, unmotivated to walk or explore, biding time like an osprey, waiting to spot his prey. I told her about a poet boyfriend I had once, and we Googled him, watched him speak in poetic riddles and sing a Grateful Dead song badly. The horse had been trailered to a vet for evaluation. Texts throughout the day read, abscess on foreleg, degenerating bones in both hips, treat or euthanize. In the morning, we summoned pastries and huevos rancheros, wandered out on the bluffs where she pointed out the heart she had carved with their initials and the giant wooden bench, M+B. Off and on, we lay in bed and read to each other from a novel about an adopted daughter seeking her biological mother. Filling time like sandbags before a storm, we wondered how a horse could survive with only 1 good leg. I'm going to finish with a song.
Oh boy. I was hoping you would do that. Anyway, let me mute me.
You may have heard this song. I'm not really writing any new songs, but I like it. Hopefully you will too. Christmas trees in February, tinsel owls and polar bears, the songs of flightless birds will soar through starless nights and wingless prayers. Red and white polka dot slippers, a shopping cart full of empty things. She walks the streets with ghosts from the past who know she's not what she seems. Forgive my maudlin rhapsody. I come from haunted rooms where ghosts line up like ampersands, singing hymns to rabbit moon. The man under the bridge is quiet. He doesn't rail at passers-by. Years of waiting for nothing to change. He silently stares at the sky. A frightened mouse in a cold white cage, nowhere to hide when wars are waged against those who have no place to go and rack up coupons of tears and rage. Forgive my maudlin rhapsody. I come from haunted rooms where ghosts line up like ampersand, singing hymns to a rabbit moon. And all the while the needle swings into black vinyl grooves. We speak of nothing in profound tones and act like sheep and wolves. Words like obstinate ponies covered with doubt and dust. Maybe they can change the future. Maybe they can save us. Forgive my maudlin rhapsody. I come from haunted rooms where ghosts line up like ampersands, singing hymns to a rabbit moon.
I'm here,
Thank,
ladies and gentlemen.
thank you all so much for listening. I hope it wasn't too long, and I'm really enjoying the reading.
Oh, beautiful work.
Great.
Let her know.
Wonderful poetry.
Thank you.
I love the song, Kimi.
Thank you. You helped
Great
me
stuff.
write it, Peggy.
I love it.
That was great, Kimi.
Thank you.
Great.
I was so glad you finished with a song because you have such a great voice and you really know how to play the guitar. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, way to go.
Thanks, Garrett.
Ah, lovely.